All right, let's get to it. Oh, where's my webcam? Why is that not working? Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Hey everybody, Soul Condor back at you again with some more live painting today. We're going to be working on this piece that we've been working on for a while now. We're just going to continue working on it. Hopefully, we'll actually be able to get it done today. But I'm not holding my breath on that because you never know. But hey, we'll give it the old college try because there are some things we still need to clean up, some things we need to focus on. I'm gonna see if I can turn the brightness down on camera. So bear with me. No, I want the brightness down. Please. Please? No? Okay. I tried, but it just wasn't having it. All right, so today, what we're going to be focusing on is actually this area over here. Let me see if I can get this up, because I know what's causing that brightness. Let me see if I can fix it a little. If I block this, how much does that help? Uh, Helps a little. The sun is just on that side of our house right now, so all of the light's coming in this way. But we'll forget about that. We'll just focus on painting, and then we'll see what happens, you know? Get this cord out of the way. Probably not, though. Yeah. We'll just leave it there. And we'll stop this from shaking as much as we can. And now we'll get started. Okay. So, let me bring up my reference image. Of course, of course. Pictures, camera roll, iPhone, night references. There it is. Good stuff. Good stuff. Cool. All right. So, like I said, we're going to be focusing on the left side of the screen now because we've got a couple of traffic lights to put in, and we've still got a traffic light to put over here too, and then we've got to finish off this pole, and some small ancillary stuff over here. But this shouldn't be too difficult. Okay. Actually, one thing that I haven't done yet. Let's see if this helps cut down on the glare. No, it doesn't. No, we'll just leave it. Although I think one of my ceiling bulbs just burnt out. Of course. Yo! Well, IGN 670, thank you. Thank you for the follow. All right, let's let's get started here. I'm just gonna check, make sure that everything's good here. All right. Okay, let's get started with the paint. So we're gonna clean off our brush. Also, try to ignore this phone cord here. Um, I wish it wasn't there, but hey. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with this light right here. His idea, and thank you for the kind words. All right. So we're gonna need some yellow, some white, a tiny bit of red, like the tiniest bit of red. Get sort of like a pale orange color. That's more yellow. We'll add some more white and then just a touch of black because we need to darken it up. This is nighttime after all. And we're going to repeat that process, just adding those colors again until we get the color that we like. Because we want to try and match this light as much as we can. Add a little more black. And a little more white. Because I want it to be a little more grayed out. Hope you all are having a good Thursday so far. To those of you who might happen to have Good Friday off, hope you're enjoying your last day of work this week. Long weekend ahead. It's a long weekend ahead. Color I wanted. All right. So I want this to be about the same size and about the same placement as the other, but it doesn't have to be perfect. But being the approximate size and place will definitely help. There we go. And I apologize that again, my back is kind of turned to you guys, but the way my setup works, it's better for the laptop to be on this side of me rather than on the other side. So, and this one does look a little bit smaller to you guys just because of the angle of the camera. It's not all that much smaller when you're looking at it in person. Trust me. But we are going to enlarge this edge just a bit. Okay. Now, I'm just gonna continually add more shadow. And as per usual, let me know how the volume is and everything. Hopefully everything balanced out, but if it's not, let me know. Change the audio settings. There we go. All right. There's going to be a little more light on the top and that side. Yo, L. Yo, Mio, what's going on? What's going on? L, thank you for the raid. Uh, I should have a raid song. Like I have a lurk song. I should have a raid song. Whoa, American Gothic, hell yeah. Uh, what's up, Lahik? I probably butchered that. But L, thank you very much. Let's give a shout out here. How did your stream go? Hope it went well. Oh, I got it? Nice, nice. Look at that. Look at that. That English, my interest in English is paying off. I'm the only one? Yo, look at me go. But welcome in, everyone. For those of you who don't know me and my laggy ass camera, um, I am Soul Commodore. I am a painter, a charcoal artist who streams my art sometimes. Sometimes I play games, but today is an art day. And we're going to see if we can get this painting done today. Probably not, but hey, we might. I finished all my shit even though I slept in by like 2 hours. Hey, there you go. Nice, nice. One of the very few who get it first try. Hey. Well, don't I feel special? But welcome on in, everybody. Welcome in. If you need to go grab some food, or you need to rest, or you need to take care of business, whatever it is you need to do, if you can't stick around, by all means, please take care of your real life stuff. I just appreciate you all being here, and thank you for sharing your community with me and trusting your community with me, really. That's a good day. Sleep in and get your shit done. Yeah. Yes, indeed. But I hope everybody's having a good day so far. Like I was saying before, if you're one of the people who doesn't work on Good Friday, congratulations on your long weekend. And anybody who does have a long weekend, I hope you're able to enjoy it. Tomorrow we'll be taking down our Christmas lights. before going down and visiting family for Easter. All right, I'm gonna make that other edge darker now because you can't have light without dark. I'm almost done with the car, but I hate this car so much. I'll show it. Let it be known that I've drawn a car one time. Maybe I don't even remember. Hey, fair enough. Um, want to lighten that up a little. All right. All right, let's take a look at this. Yo, Mio, nice job. Nice job. That's very well done. Especially like the detail on the hubcaps and the grill. Like I mean the whole car looks good, but that man, that the front of the car, the grill and the lights and all that, that's special. Very well done. I really like that. Very nice. I hate car bad. I can't even drive. Fair, fair. Well, I am a big fan of how that turned out. All right, let's bring up my reference image again. So this light looks a little different in this than it did on. I will go cook dinner angrily. There you go. That's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. Well, having dinner is very important. Very important. So if you need to leave to go do that, I will preemptively hit you with the I always feel like somebody's watching me. I hope you have a good dinner. And thank you for dropping by. Thank you for dropping in, saying hello. Okay, so I'm gonna take some white, and on the very bottom edge of this light, just because it's gonna pick up a little bit of the reflections from the surrounding light, we're just going to enhance this edge that's already here just a little bit. Not too much though, just a little. Yeah. Okay. And now we have to do the pole that it's attached to, which is basically just going to be a dark center right here. It's extending outwards. And this one's going to get kind of lost in the darkness in the background. So what we're going to do is basically draw the beginning of it. Just kind of lay it in there. And then we're going to wash off our brush, get some white, and kind of put a little highlight on the bottom there so that you know that it's there. Then after that, we will move down to the curb. Well, maybe not the curb yet. Maybe not quite yet. We still got to do some of these lights and add these traffic lights over here. Yo, I was an embarrassingly old age. Well, not really embarrassing, but I remember I was in university when I saw a post. I forget which website, but it was one of those websites where like it kind of like it was like a today I learned type of thing. Um, before the subreddit was a thing, but it was a today I learned that traffic lights are like 4 feet tall, and I was like, no, they're not. And then there was a picture of a technician standing next to a traffic light, and it was easily 4 feet tall. And it's like, oh, all right. I never would have guessed. There we go. Because I never ever would have guessed that. Sort of like I never would have guessed that. Um, I lied. We are gonna actually move down to the curve because I have the colors that I need right on my brush. So, um, I never would have guessed that the lane markers on roads. Now, I don't know if this is universal, but at least here in Canada, uh, the lane markers, like the dashed lines on the highway and whatnot, are 10 feet long. Like, not 10 feet apart, they are 10 feet long. And I was like, no, they're not. But the video had a guy go out there with a tape measure on a road that was not occupied and measured out, and it is 10 feet long. Because it has to be that, because like you're looking at it from the viewpoint in your car, right? Um, so things are going to be a little distorted. If they were any less than that, then they would barely show up to you as dashed lines. And I was like, huh, learn something new every day. Okay. So now we're gonna move down here. I want to fight a street light now. 4 feet, I can take it. You probably could take it. I'd put my money on you in that fight. No question. Get back further. Introduce more black. There we go. Okay, and now for the lights here. So there's a street light here. And light is that? I feel like it's another street light, but I don't know. Oh, it's because there's a tree there. Ah, that explains a lot of things. Okay. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. In the meantime, I need to put in a pole here. That'll kind of mirror this pole. Yeah. And it's basically going to be where this light is. Because this I got to move up a bit, actually. So I'm going to wash off my brush. Oh, there we go. All right. Honestly, this side of the painting is tougher because it's so much darker on this side than on the others. We'll grab some white. And just like before, we'll start with a bright middle. That excess off the brush. Then we're just going to kind of mix it around. You know what? That's too bright. Yeah, that's too bright. We're gonna wipe some of that off. I don't think my brush was quite dry yet. Sometimes that happens. Your brush isn't dry enough. Things will get brighter than you want them to be. It should be dry enough now, though. Because with this part, I want the brush to be pretty much dry. I'm going to add just a little bit of black on my brush. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that rest for a second. I'm going to cover this up though, because that's not in the right spot. I put that in before I knew the proportions of everything. Because this white light here is actually going to be, it's what it is the reflection of this street light on this pole right here that's holding up the street light, or the traffic light. So while we're waiting for that to dry up some, I'm going to put in this other pole down here. So that's going to be right about here. Yo, Squid, welcome, man. How are you? How are you? Good to see you. Now, the actual pole that this light's attached to, now that I'm looking at the proportions, is actually going to be closer to here, which makes sense because that's where that light is. So I am going to actually gray out this pole in the back a bit so we can differentiate just a little. Yeah, it's good. Okay, and now we're going to make a more prominent pole like right here. Yeah. Okay. So we'll grab some white and we'll mix it in that brown color that we already had. We'll throw this in again. Now we're going to add some black to kind of blacken that up a little bit. Because like I said, this side of the street is darker than this side, so you stand to go a little bit darker. As we get to the top. Again, there's not a whole lot of paint on this brush. More the, to be honest, it's more of a suggestion of paint than actual paint on the brush. Shape it up a bit with some pure black. No. I just realized that looks like it's super crooked on the camera just because of the angle of the camera, but it's it is straight. Don't worry. There's also like some rippling going on the canvas, just because it's starting to sag a little bit, just because of the weight of the paint on it. But it is the size it's supposed to. So we now have to do a corollary light to this one over here, which is what this light thing was here, but we do have to move that a little. So we're going to do that. Just taking a look, seeing where this is here, and then it's going to drop down this way to match that other one. So is it actually going to cut through that aura? I think it is. So I'm just thinking things out through in my head, which you do sometimes, rather than actually showing what it is you're going to do. Yeah. Okay. So this is where it needs to go, and then the street light on top. Well, that's fine. That's whatever. That can go wherever I want to put it. Yeah. I might move this over a bit, though. But first, I gotta black this out. I'm going to start to black this one out, actually. Because I didn't like how that was starting to turn out, so I'm going to cover it up completely and then just move it somewhere else. Because you have the luxury of doing that when you're painting. Put stuff wherever you want. But I am going to shift it more this way. We just have to wait for that to dry. So while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to put in these other traffic lights, which shouldn't be too difficult. We're going to get the super dark yellow color again. Dark brown. Almost gray, actually. You're just gonna get like the faintest little bit of like a yellowish color to it. because there's not very much light hitting this at all. So match this one here over here. Do that there. Basic shape of the light, like so. And grab some black. Mix that in. No, come on. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Now I'm going to take some like black. I'm going to wash my brush and just kind of clean up some of the area around that light to make it look more like a light. Much like we did over here. Oh. Well, thank you, Al. I appreciate that. I'm glad you think so. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna wash our brush again. Now we're gonna actually add the light to this thing. Which, oh, I'm gonna need some red for that. Put you over there. There we go. Then get some red. Add a little bit of pure white without mixing it with anything else to make a kind of a dull pink. Because pure red is going to be too dark for what we're doing here. So we're going to just illuminate, much like we did over here. Now, we'll just add a tiny bit of white to the center here to suggest illumination. Side, and there we go. And now we got to do this here. So, because of the color of the light, this is actually going to be yellow as a base, much like over here. Tiny bit of red. Mixing that together with some white. Thicken it up. And it's going to be about the same height as the one there. So that's going to be the center of our light. It's going to be where it is. Thank you, El. I appreciate that. And then, same as that other one, we're just going to slowly go around it, build up that aura, that ring of light around it, that glow. Much like we did on this side. It's kind of yellowish because even though this is a green light, clearly the hand is starting to flash, telling you like, hey, you shouldn't start crossing now because the light's going to turn soon. So now we're going to take and just fill that in. And then, much like we did with this here in the street, we're going to do on this side as well. Don't cross, but do stand in the middle of the road to take photos. Well, thankfully, this is at like 2 a.m. in Chatham, Ontario. There's no one on the road except for me. So also, don't worry, I wasn't actually in the intersection. I was standing a ways away from it. Sometimes one of my favorite thing to do is think about like what people must be thinking if they ever saw me like out taking photos. They must think I'm some kind of nut. It's fun to think about. Especially because like I'm taking photos out in the rain, you know? Not even nice out. Well, nice is relative because like rain is my favorite type of weather, so I find rainy weather super nice. Whereas other people usually disagree with me. Give me a cloudy, rainy day any day. But I know I'm in the minority on that. And that's okay. It takes all kinds. And much like how my anxiety could never, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Um, much like how people say you can't really appreciate the sunny days without a little bit of rain. For me, it's the opposite. I can't really appreciate the rainy days without a little bit of sun. You know. Yep. Can't rain all the time. It's true. It's true. And as much as I love it, I wouldn't want it to rain all the time because that screws up a lot of other things. You know, you can't have rain all the time, just like you can't have the sun all the time. There we go. Just kind of shore that up a little bit. That separation is there between the pole and the light. There we go. All right. So now we can move on to this street light, which is going to be, I'm going to move it right about here, I think. Yeah, right about here. So take our white. That'll be our center. Make it about the approximate size of the actual light. Just approximate though. Like right about there. Take the excess paint off the brush. I think I need one brush size up, just a little. Yeah, this should work better, I think. Oh, I just realized you all can't see what I'm doing. My bad. Sometimes I'll forget. My apologies. My face was covering it. So what I'm going to do now is take some black and kind of do the opposite to kind of tame down the edges a little. Need a little bit more. There we go. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Now we'll wait for that to dry a little bit. And then we will, in the meantime, what are we going to do in the meantime? Oh, in the meantime, we'll do this. Yes. Basically recoloring that reflection based on the color of the light that we just added. Because it's more yellowish, just like on the other side. I'm just realizing that we might not finish this painting today, but that's okay. Because the next time we do this, which will be on Monday, Easter Monday, we will finish it. And then we can stretch it. And I can show you all how to stretch a painting when it's already done. Because a lot of people do the classic, like they stretch the painting, they stretch the canvas onto the stretcher and then they paint on it. But not too many people do the opposite, where they paint on the wall and then they stretch it afterwards. So I'll show that process. Which can be fun, if a little nerve-wracking. That's okay. It's not too bad, in my opinion. Yeah, because I buy my shit pre-stretched. This is all DIY. Red with that. Just a hint of red. Just to kind of orange this up a bit. There we go. I don't do physical enough for that to save me money. But even if I did, I'd still go to lazy route. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, you got to do you. You know, whatever makes your life easier is what you should do. You know, whatever makes most sense for you and your practice. You know, I've said this before. I've used this analogy before. But one of my cousins, um, we got to talking about just general stuff. Um, and she had that morning bought a phone. Was it an iPod case? I don't know. It was some kind of case for some kind of electronic device. I think it was for an iPad or something. Anyway, it didn't fit quite right. Right? She paid $2 for it at a flea market, and she drove back to the flea market to get her money back because they promised her that that size would fit, and then it didn't. Right? Um, that was worth the time for her. Whereas for me, that would be a waste of time for me, because for me, my time is a lot more important than my money. So, because in my mind, like God willing, I can make more money, but I can't get my time back, right? So that's what uh, that's what I prioritize is um, so you got to find what's worth it for you, right? And if stretching your own canvas isn't worth the investment time or money wise or physicality wise or anything like that, then by all means, uh, buy pre-stretched canvas. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't no shame in that. For me personally, I just found it worth more for me to actually stretch it myself. But we all got to find the thing that makes it worth it for us, which can be difficult. Can be very difficult. There we go. All right, let's do this curve while we're waiting for that stuff up top to dry completely. It should be almost dry. I mean, it is acrylic after all, but want to make sure it's dry. This curve is also going to be grayish, but not as gray as the one on the opposite side, because again, it is darker on this side of the street. Now, because this side of the street is darker, however, I am going to throw little hints that there is actually a curve there. Namely, once we wash the brush again, Gonna take some black, just some straight up black. And kind of lay in where the road actually is. Give us a nice solid line as to where that curve is. Just like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to add in some reflections of light right along that in certain areas to kind of once again reinforce that edge. Like so. One down here. Then above it, I'm going to add some black. Just again to reinforce that edge. And you should do this with if you're going to do this technique, you should do it with a stiffer brush. I don't have a stiffer brush than this one, which is why I need to go get some new brushes. But that'll be another time. And just going to go over that again with that grayish color just to firm it up. And then we should be good to fill in the light on that white light, on that street light there. There we go. Just like that. And now we have a curve. Wash my brush again. Then we'll grab some of the bright white light. or the bright, bright white, I should say. We're not grabbing a light. We're going to make a light. But first, because I'm just looking at it now, we are going to add some white to these here, especially closer down to the bottom. Surprisingly, that paint's still a little bit tacky, so we're actually going to shift off of that and move back up to the top here. White here. And basically, just gonna lay it in, much like we did on the other side. There we go. And to follow this line, I might have to repaint that line to go more straight across because I want this to be more straight across to cut the underside of that. So we're going to actually put a reflection right there. We're going to grab some black. We're going to reinforce that reflection. By painting across it like that. And now we've got a good indication of where that hole is. Yeah, it works. Little by little, our intersections come together. Now, what we have to decide here is what we're going to do. Because there is a hole here. It's going to have like a no walk sign attached to it. The one on the other side is off camera. There's going to be a traffic light, or yeah, a traffic light on there too, right about here. But then there's this tree that's in the way, and I think I want to put that tree in. So we've got some decisions to make because I also don't want it to be too distracting. But I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be. So, the main thing that we have to start with is putting in that pole. So, grab a different brush. Make sure it's nice and dry. And if we have to dry it some on our hand, like so. Much like the other side, put right about here. Grab some there we go. And two. Start here. That's about as far as we're going to go with it. Because it's going to be obscured by the tree above that. And unlike on the other side, this one is, in fact, a metal pole. Whereas the one on the other side is a wooden pole. Hence the much more stark gray coloration on it. And now, of course, we got to put the back side on it. A bit darker than that. It's not perfect, but we are going to eventually clean it up some. Like the gray I put on the front is a little bit too bright, but again, we will fix that. What I need to do right now is kind of color this grass a little. Just like we did on this side. Just to add a little bit of depth. Thank you, Elle. I appreciate that. I'm glad that y'all dig what I do. I mean, as I've said before, you really have to like the most important thing is liking your own stuff, right? Being able to take constructive criticism, but liking your own stuff is paramount. But when other people like your stuff too, it does feel good, I must say. Okay. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some pure black, just kind of straighten these up a bit. And a lot of this is going to be covered by branches and all that. But before we do that, we have to do some details on that pole, as well as put in that other traffic light, which I think we'll do now. So it's just a matter of getting that pale yellow, pale dark yellow color we already done a couple of times. Stop shaking. And shaky, shaky, shaky is right. This we really only see three of them, but I'm just gonna kind of roughly put this in. Because again, this is largely going to be covered by tree leaves. So I can be a little rougher with it than other stuff. Just like that. I just realized what's going on. There we go, that's better. It's a little less yellow now. What happened to our music? Oh my goodness, that's the end of the playlist. Wow. Okay, so add just a few highlights to this. So it has some dimension. Because even if something's obscured, it's still, you know, light still works the same way with it. So you want to add some dimension to it so that it doesn't look too strange. I didn't wash that brush at all. Okay, some black paint on the brush. We're going to clean that up a little. Just like that. There we go. Not bad. Okay, so now I'm going to do some of the details on the pole itself. For instance, so right here, yeah, is our little walk sign, or walk signal, I should say. Okay. And take some black. Just gonna do something on the back side as well. Yeah. Sorry, I realized that a lot of this is just me talking to myself in my head, um, which isn't great for broadcasting purposes. So basically, what I'm trying to decide is because this line's a little choppy, so I got to decide where the actual pole is, and that's what I'm doing now. Is taking some of the dark black paint and getting rid of that extra line that showed up. so that we can actually get some definition, which isn't going to look like definition at this point because this paint is wet. So it's not going to look like much. But also don't forget, a lot of this is going to be obscured by tree leaves and all that. So it'll end up being okay. Even if it wasn't obscured by tree leaves, it would end up okay. Even if it wasn't perfect, because perfect is the enemy of good. Overall. Concerned with getting it perfect, getting it 100% accurate as I am with getting it legible. Okay. So now we got to add that little bit of glow there. So we're going to get our smallest brush yet again. And we're going to grab a little bit of yellow, once again, a little bit of red. But it's okay that this one's going to look a lot more orangey than usual. After all, the no walk sign is orange. Yellow paint is so translucent, though, that it can be difficult to actually make a halfway decent orange. I said before that green was the hardest secondary color to make. It might actually be orange. Now we're going to add some bright white in 2 places. Right on this here. Go. And a tiny little dot of white at the tip of this thing here. There we go. Kind of curve it a bit. And there is another section of white, like another little bit of a there we go. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do something that is probably not going to be very legible at all, but we're going to start putting in the tree. And I'll show you what we're going to do to actually make that tree more legible in a little bit, which has to do with the background. I'm going to grab a brush and just load it up with black paint. Just pure black paint, no other colors mixed in. Oh, I forgot to do something before we do that. Just need to get some white and black. Make a bright gray. Because this is reflecting a little of light. A little light. Across the way. Just adds another dimension to this stand. This bowl here. There we go. Not bad. There we go. Now we can start adding these tree leaves and all that. Which again, aren't really going to show up all that much. But I'll show you what we'll do to rectify that. I'm just going to keep bringing this up here. And I know some of you might be skeptical about what's going on here, but I promise you, I'll make this all make sense in a minute. So we're just kind of putting leaves all over the place. and then smoothing them out a bit so that there's not a whole lot of texture on them. But I don't want a whole lot of texture. Okay, so I know that visually, it probably didn't look like we did a whole lot, which I'm about to fix. And for this, actually, I'm going to zoom the camera out just a bit. I'm going to move it back. Forgive all the shaking that's about to happen. Thankfully, there was actually a minimal. Dinner time for me. Enjoy the rest of your painting time. Thank you, El. And thank you for the raid earlier. Thank you for coming on in. And of course, you know what's happening. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Enjoy your dinner. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful dinner. And thanks for dropping by. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean off that brush. I'm gonna do something a little unconventional, which is we're going to add a little spot of light right in here. That is kind of shining through. Oh, you can't see that. So we're right up here. And we're gonna kind of halo that out a little. To give the impression that there's something here that is obstructing the light. But we don't quite know what. Just like so. And I'll show that more in depth once we finish up here. But I am going to add a little bit of light to some of these outer leaves just on the underside. So once again, we get the impression that there is something here. And I know that isn't showing up on camera all that well, but again, I promise I'll bring you all in and show you what it is that I'm doing once we get closer to the end, which actually is going to be shortly. But as we get further away, we're going to get less of the highlights of the leaves. So now what do we do? Because we're moving further away from light sources, so how do we portray that there's a tree here? And the answer for that is I don't know if you're in an area that has a lot of light pollution, but what tends to happen is that rain clouds and whatnot reflect the light. So we're going to take some black and some yellow and red, make ourselves a brown, a very dark brown, with a little bit of white attached to it. And we are going to put in those rain clouds in certain areas so that we can see that there is actually objects in the distance and objects in the foreground up against this very black sky. So for instance, there's a tree that we put in this area here in the background. I'm going to see if I can pick it out. And I'm just going to very lightly put in outline of it. This is also going to give us some dimension to the actual background. So we're not just looking at a plain black background, which is really important for just visually having something to look at. And of course, because we're doing this here, we also have to include some in this area where we'll kind of give the outline of this tree. And then we can also go in afterwards and have a few more defined leaves fill the space. And again, I apologize for the glare from my room lights because this isn't coming through nearly as much on camera as it is in person. But like I said, I'll show you what it is that I'm doing more up close once we're getting close to closing out, which will be shortly, like the next couple of minutes. But basically, what you're doing is you're tricking the eye into thinking there's something there that isn't, right? Basically, all you're doing. Playing tricks on the eyes. Which is fun that you get to do that, you know? If you so choose to. But I remember when I was a kid, years before I knew what light pollution was, I would always wonder why. Because we didn't live in a big city, but we have enough lights in our city, like street lights and all that kind of stuff, that you can see them in the you can see like the lights reflecting off of the clouds when it's a rainy night. But I remember I would always ask my dad, like, why are rain clouds at night like orangish? And he didn't really know actually. Um, so I went years not knowing. And then finally, when I got older, like I learned about light pollution, and that's what's doing it. And it's like, oh, it was a big eye opener for me. Like a decades long mystery finally solved. You know. There we go. Just get in here with the fine leaves. Odor reaches a little bit more. So it looks more like a tree. Instead of just an amorphous blob. There we go. All right, let me grab my camera and show y'all what it is that we did today. Up close and personal. As soon as I put my palette away. And of course get paint all over my hands. Yeah, it's all over my hands. All right. So we actually accomplished quite a bit on this painting today. I'm quite pleased, actually. We're a lot closer to being done than I thought. So, let's start with the first thing we did. I don't even remember the first thing we did, but we put in these light poles here, this light and the reflection, and we short up this reflection too. We put in this curb as well as that one there. We did this traffic light right there, as well as this one. And we put in this street light with the reflection of the pole coming across. We put in this light pole here with the no walk sign and this traffic light that's kind of obscured, as well as this street light that's obscured. And to show you the sky, so we added all these clouds all the way across, very dark brown with some lighter areas, but also it will show off this tree that's in the distance. Yeah, that's our painting so far. And we're very, 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 very close to being done. Like, the only things we have left to do are finishing up the top of this pole here and probably just fixing some of the reflections, some of them that I want to shore up. But you can see here too with the clouds, it kind of takes on the outline of the shape of some of the tree. You know? So now there's absolutely nothing there except the background paint, but we've kind of faked it so that it looks like there's a tree there. And I'll put in some more, like I'll take a smaller brush and put in some more leaves that are a little more defined as we go up here, just to kind of show that off. But yeah. That's our painting so far. Coming together quite nicely. So with that, I want to thank you all for coming in. Good to see everybody. Got some thank yous. So IGN670, thank you for the follow. L, thank you once again for the raid. And speaking of, let's see who's doing what. And it was very nice to see everybody. As always, it's always good to see y'all. New tab, Twitch. Who's doing what? I know that Nat probably isn't streaming because I think Nat's moving right now, or at least getting ready to move. So let's see what's going on. You know what? We're gonna switch over to some games. We're gonna raid Based Windu because Based Windu is a cool guy. Very cool guy. We're gonna say hi to Based Windu. No problem, Mio. Thank you for coming in. I hope you enjoyed it. Based Windu. There we go. So our next stream is going to be Sunday morning. I'm not quite sure what time yet, but we'll figure it out. The next time we're going to be working on this is going to be next Monday at about 6 p.m. We're going to finish it up, and we're actually going to stretch it because we're this close to being done. And when we're going over to Base Windu, if you want to throw this in chat, is this the command? I hope this is the command. Yeah, there you go. You can throw that in the chat. Courtesy, the emotes are courtesy of me, but the phrase is courtesy of Super Redria 64. This raid's got soul. You want to copy that as we raid over, please feel free. But yeah, thank you all for coming in. Hopefully we'll see you Sunday. Hopefully we'll see you Monday. And if not, I hope you have a wonderful Easter weekend. If you don't celebrate Easter, I hope you have a wonderful weekend regardless. And we'll catch you all next time. Take it easy, y'all.